Welcome to my world. Come on in and make yourselves at home. Welcome to my life. I know everything's gonna be alright. Welcome to my world. Oh, won't you come on in? Welcome to my life. It's known as the Tiger's Den. Greetings to all of my subscribers. I want to thank you for being with me for as long as you have, and the new subscribers that's coming on in. We want to say greetings and thank you for your time. This is from Toothless and the moderators. Welcome to the Tiger's Den. This is the voice of Cheryl, and I am Toothless Tiger, bringing to you a true story. Hello. I'm sorry I'm running a little late, but lately I've been caught up in the YSL trial and all of its shenanigans. But I like to watch Katt Not Williams because I like the way she and her chat breaks it down for everybody to be able to understand what's going on. There are some things I understand about law, very little, but there are some things that I understand. But there are so many things that I don't understand, understand, or overstand. And Katt really breaks it down for you, and it really is amazing to see her in action. And then she has some of the smartest people. I guess maybe they're legal minds or they're just analytical thinkers. I don't know. But they're fantastic. And I normally use her stuff, and I'll use, I'm sure, what she's doing tonight. But she was still alive, and I was pondering in my mind if I wanted to tear myself away and stay committed to my platform. And so I decided to do just that. Because I do have people that are committed to me, and I appreciate you and your time. Sometimes, for me, it doesn't feel good to be the only person in the chat or to have just you and your sister in the chat. Sometimes there are people in the bushes, sometimes there is not. But I'm committed because I love what I do. So it doesn't matter. I could talk to the screen. I would be talking to the camera if I chose not to go live. But I choose to go live at least twice a week. And I'm committed to doing just that, no matter who's here. But what I want to talk about tonight, it's a lot of things going on in the YSL trial. I'm going to put the link to Katt's video in here so that you guys, if you want to check out how she does a story, then you can. But what I'm going to talk about tonight is our old friends, Nathan Wade and Fani Willis. You know the two, the DA of Fulton County, who is actually leading the charge for all of these RICO cases of these young Asiatic men and even European, because she even tackled President Donald Trump. Not to mention other young Asiatic males. But I wanted to talk about a story that came out today, and I thought it was really something, that she's charging all of these young men, and it's really an atrocity what's going on in those cases. And I just hate that more people are not outraged. But, you know, I can't make people be outraged. My job really is to just report what's going on. But another part of my job is to give my point of view, because that's what I do. I'm very opinionated. Sometimes I get it wrong. I made a comment in Katt's chat about Adrian Love, and it was so funny. I said that she was a juvenile DA, and someone corrected me, and I'm glad that they did, because I did a video about her being a juvenile judge, but she ran for DA the same time period as Fani Willis. Unfortunately, she didn't win her race. But be that as it may, I love when I get it wrong and someone correct me. Please do. Don't ever stop telling me the truth, because I'm not all-knowing. I don't believe in absolute either way it go, right or wrong. We just have rights and we have wrongs, and we do the best we can, especially as parents. Even those parents in marginalized areas, which are areas that most of us Asiatics grow up in, urban developments that are known as projects or hoods, where, you know, it's the lowest of low. We have food deserts. We have no medical clinics. We have no banks that will loan us money. We have banks that'll cash our checks. We have banks that'll take our deposits, but we don't have banks that would loan us money and give us opportunity like in other communities. So for me to see the DA, who's really trying to, in my opinion, railroad these young men, show up at a crime scene, and the crime is her daughter driving on suspended license. It's not the crime that these young men are accused of. No, it's not. But it's a crime nonetheless. I think before I get deep into her story, Phyllis just reminded me, hey, Phyllis, when she said, what a day, of a shooting that took place in Georgia today at a school. And so we want to just say a little prayer for those people and what they could be going through. I don't know the detail of the story because I didn't watch it. Today I'm kind of laid back, and of course, I don't know if y'all know, but I stay in China and in Korea. And what I mean by that is I like looking at their movies, and there are a lot of love stories. And they teach a lot of ethics and show you how people really are. You know, how your best friend will turn on you for something that you wouldn't expect for that to happen. How they steal your identity and try to be you. How the parents are billionaires and they have arranged marriages for the purposes of keeping the business going and being the richest and the best. Some things are very ethical and some are very unethical. But it's so in contrast to what our movies look like. You know, all of them, they want marriage. Most of their children are all virgins at 30 and 40. But of course, our movies are totally different. We're all bitches, hoes, sluts, niggas, pimps, dope dealers, dope addicts. We all have babies out of wedlock, and some of us have 5 baby daddies, if not 10. Those are our movies. So it's really something to see, even though, you know, it could be fictionalized, but it's more to what life is and what you see every day, whether it's happening to you or you see it happening to someone else. It's really sad how the world really is, and especially in our community. We have so many things against us, and 9 times out of 10, we're against ourselves. But it is what it is, and I just want to come on and commit to my time to you. And I'm going to tell this story and talk about how Nathan Wade abandoned his med student daughter when he and his wife finally signed the agreement for the divorce. And they had not divorced, and I don't know if they still have divorced, but they signed an agreement where he was supposed to pay. And he had said, committed to paying his daughter's college, as well as paying his son's stay in Spain as he tried to get a professional soccer career. Unfortunately, when they signed the papers, he immediately cut them off and told them to get it from their mama. And then, of course, we know he resigned and they broke up many months ago, they said. But yet he shows up to her success when she won her primary. And now he shows up at the crime scene for her daughter. And it's nothing wrong with being friends and having friends, because they're adults and they do what they choose to do. But it's so sad how they have done our children. And in contrast, his daughter is a med student and her daughter is driving with suspended license, pregnant, and arrested. Not to make her daughter feel bad, that's her reality. It's all in the decisions that we make. I really think it's sad that we don't have more men, especially Asiatic, on YouTube talking about the atrocities in this trial. I'm saddened that more people are not filing complaints. I have the link in my chat to file a complaint against those attorneys, and I'm talking about the prosecutors and the judge if you find any fault in her. I think she's doing an all right job, considering I don't believe that any of them actually look at justice. Unless we break it down to what we've heard most of our lives, especially mine growing up off of Jim Crow into civil rights. Justice stands for just us. But that, I think, crosses color lines, because I think it goes to the haves and the have-nots. So you only get justice if you have. And if you have not, oh well. I hope you make it. Thank you for the 1 or 2 people that are in the clouds. I wish you would please hit the like button. I would appreciate it. Hi, bae. It's good to see you. It is very crazy out here, bae. It's unbelievable. Better say it's the wild, wild west. You may be up today and down the next second. Yeah. But I wanted to talk about this because imagine what his daughter must feel like, knowing how her father, who she loved all her life, and I'm sure he told her that she was his little princess and did everything he could to make her life on the trajectory that it's on, only to abandon her when she needed him the most. And that's why she's almost graduating and a pre-med student. So that's very devastating, I'm sure. To hear all the stories that she had to hear, and I'm sure she didn't hear a whole lot because they're relocated. But imagine your dad's mistress, who was once his boss, who paid him hundreds of thousands of dollars, who has a daughter, and your mom lived in Texas and you moved to Texas, and her daughter is in Texas at one of the HBCUs, one of my family's alma mater. I have nieces and nephews that attended Texas Southern University. But now she's back in Georgia driving on suspended license. It has to be devastating. So I'm not going to do too bad with this story, but I do want to tell this story because news is news and we need to tell it. One of the reasons that I chose to come on YouTube and to share my experience, to share the hood's experience, because there is so much that happened in our neighborhoods that we don't know about. Maybe word of mouth, but it's not publicized where we don't get outrage. And we need to have public outrage. And when you have public outrage, that is public discord. And when you have public discord, what you need to do is to exercise your First Amendment right and petition the government that we call government. And you petition them by way of complaints. And everybody has a website and they have a complaint form. We don't have to just take everything that happened to us. We have congressmen and women that represent our areas. We have state legislators such as state representatives and state senators. We can really complain if we use the tools that we have. We just need to know what avenue we're on and then govern ourselves according to that avenue. We don't have to take a lot of the abuse that we take. We don't know, a lot of us, that we have rights to petition the people that we put in office to get a better result. There is no way this trial should be still going on with YSL. There's no way that the DA office received all of the money that she received, but she got rid of the programs for the gangs. But she ran on gang violence and how she was going to get rid of the gangs. No, she got rid of the programs that causes people to walk away from the gangs. She got rid of those. And it's really sad because it's like that throughout the entire United States of America, as we call it. But this story is about Fani Willis's daughter was just arrested. And I woke up to this news. So I got it from TOWNHALL. It's on the internet. And let me present it to you. I so desperately almost did not come on tonight. Because I tell y'all, I'm pretty addicted to those little movies that I look at. It's kind of good to get away from reality and live a little bit vicariously through movies. That's what I've been doing. Be that as it may. Life is what it is, and it is real. And the YSL trial reminds me of how real it is every day. But this is Mia Cathell, and it could be Cathell. I don't know how she pronounced it, and I hope I didn't mess it up too bad. September 4th, 2024 at 12:15 p.m. And this story is Fani Willis's daughter was just arrested. And look at that picture. The youngest daughter of anti-Trump DA Fani Willis was just arrested in Tyrone, Georgia, late last month and is now facing criminal charges. 25-year-old Kenanya, I guess that's how you pronounce that, I don't know how, Imani Willis was booked into Fayette County Jail about half an hour south of Atlanta on August 24th for driving with a suspended license. Fani Willis' daughter was arrested in Georgia for driving with a suspended license, Daily Mail reports. Below is her mugshot. She looked very sad about the eyes. This almost looked like a horror movie picture. So she looks very sad. Now, I don't know if she's sad or not, but that's what this picture reminds me of. So I could imagine she could probably feel some of the same embarrassment as Nathan Wade's daughter, if not more. Local law enforcement pulled over the prosecutor's pregnant daughter after spotting the young woman on a cell phone while driving her 2010 Nissan Altima, allegedly in violation of the Georgia Hands-Free Act, which prohibits all drivers from using a handheld electronic device, even to talk over the phone while operating a vehicle. She stated that the reason for her using her cell phone while operating the vehicle was due to her mother calling her related to her pregnancy, the police report says. Now, perhaps her mother didn't know she was driving, and perhaps she already knew she was pregnant. But I don't know how pregnant she is, but why would she be calling her regarding her pregnancy while she's driving? I don't know the story behind that. Willis, who's reportedly headed to law school, told a Tyrone Police Department officer she was unaware her license was suspended as of May 13th for the same offense, driving on a suspended license. The cop then handcuffed her on the side of the highway, searched Willis for possible weapons or contraband, and took her into custody on a charge of driving with revoked or suspended license, a misdemeanor carrying a minimum sentence of 2 days in jail plus a $500 fine and a 6-month extension of the suspension if convicted of a second offense, which would be treated as a misdemeanor of a high and aggravated nature. The penalties increased to at least 10 days behind bars and a fine of $1,000. Willis was served a citation and issued a warning for unlawful use of a wireless device. She was subsequently released and ordered to appear in Tyrone Municipal Court for an October 24th arraignment. Willis's mother later arrived on the scene to take possession of her vehicle, the incident report adds. Kenea's older sister, Naya, who was the passenger in her sibling's silver car, had called their mother in the aftermath of the arrest. Reached for comment about her daughter's arrest, Willis immediately hung up on a Daily Mail reporter. The arrest of the younger Willis comes as her Grey Goose guzzling mother is facing prosecutorial misconduct proceedings that could result in her disqualification from the Trump RICO case if the Georgia Appeals Court rules in the former president's favor. In February, the 52-year-old Fulton County District Attorney spectacularly, no man, I just made up a word, spectacularly, boy, I don't know. I ain't never said spectacularly, so I don't know if I said that right or not. But however it goes, I just said it. Self-imploded on the witness stand when Donald Trump's defense attorney, as well as the counsel of other Trump co-defendants, cross-examined her in a series of humiliating hearings. Forced to answer questions under oath about the Southern gentleman she hired to spearhead the Georgia election interference case against Trump, Willis admitted to having an undisclosed affair with then Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. Daily Mail acquired body camera police footage of Willis and Wade turning up together at the scene of her daughter's arrest, although long after they claimed to have quit the sexploits. So maybe they're just friends. And then here goes the post on X. And it says, Fani Willis shows up on the side of the road with her ex, Nathan Wade, after her daughter was arrested for a suspended license. You literally can't make this up. New body cam footage shows Willis with Wade, a man who she claimed she was no longer in a relationship with. And so we're going to try to see if this will play clear without you guys. Let me know if it is echoing on you.
Couple hours, probably. Mom, Dad, who with you? Okay.
Nice to meet you.
So, Corporal Clark.
Nice to meet you. What?
So, apparently,
Nice to meet you.
So now the officer said, "Mom, Dad." Okay, and then they later on in this article, you're gonna see they're gonna say that they knew who she was. So if they knew who she was, then they know that that wasn't no dad. Now, when y'all was listening to that, was that echoing? I know it's loud and noisy, but they're on the side of the freeway. Was it echoing? Does it sound bad and hurt your ears? Let me know. Okay, I hear you say trouble sound. I'm going to play it a little more and you let me know if the sound, or is it just because of the sound on the freeway?
Apparently her license is suspended.
Okay.
For something. Doesn't tell us what for or why or where. Or that's something she's going to have to call DMV and find out. Right? Probably what happened is she had a speeding ticket. Some kind of traffic infraction, never went to court, didn't take care of it. Right? That's the best guess. So she's gone over to Fayette County Jail, which is right in the Fayetteville Square. It's 145 Johnson Avenue. Normally, I would say a couple hours is the process. It just depends on how busy they are and like that, okay? The driving on the suspended is basically a traffic citation. She's got to have her fingerprints done and picture taken, then she can make her bond. You can pay it cash, use a bondsman, be 10%, whatever. They've got a list of people over there, too, that you can choose from and use, whatever.
Where was she stuck?
So the vehicle's registered to her.
Okay.
I don't know if it was on a flock hit or if the officer observed some kind of traffic infraction. It wasn't me. I didn't make traffic stop. He's already gone and got her going. Okay. So whatever the case may be, when you run the tag, it obviously gives us the vehicle information and the registered owner. Okay. And it's already in the system that she has the invalid license. Yeah. So upon that, we just verify that it is that person driving, or stop the car first at that point. We don't have to know it's them. It's general assumption that the registered owner is the driver of the vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, if you stop and it's not, okay, have a nice day. But in this case, she was. So,
So this are the keys to the car here?
yes.
Yeah, everything's here.
Yeah, everything's in there.
She has 3 numbers. I believe she gave, your number, a JC, and a third name I didn't pick. She'll allow to make, she's allowed to get 3 phone calls when she gets up there.
Yeah,
I'm just park the car.
once they get the process done, she can make a couple phone calls and call you guys and say, okay, I'm ready, this is how much it is, whatever. I want to say off the top of my head, I think driving on suspended license is about $1,200.
Yeah.
Somewhere right in that area. Every municipality's different, you know, give or take a little bit, but somewhere around there. So,
Right. Thank you so much.
you're welcome. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Okay, so that was the stop. Apparently her license is suspended, the officer told Willis. That's news to me, Willis replied. For something, the cop continued. Doesn't tell us what for or why or where. He suspected some kind of traffic infraction that she never went to court to take care of. Wade appeared alongside Willis and shook the officer's hand when he asked if this was the arrestee's mom and dad. Just a friend, Willis corrected him. She introduced herself as Fani. Nodding to her high-profile status, the Democratic DA told the officers assembled, obviously, don't put my address down. Y'all can have my address. The rest of the world know. For obvious reasons, the police replied amicably, indicating they were well aware of who she was. Willis was casually clothed, wearing a Scorpion Girl shirt and a heart-shaped locket around her neck, while Wade wore a baseball cap and an Atlanta Hawks top during the traffic stop's aftermath. As lovers, the two took luxury trips around the world, including trips to Aruba, the Bahamas, Belize, and Napa Valley, all of which Wade allegedly paid for with his taxpayer-funded earnings. Wade, who pocketed over $770,000 for his work on the Trump case, insisted that Willis ultimately repaid him with cash, though there is no trace of the transactions. The father of Fani Willis, John C. Floyd III, which, by the way, bears the same name as John C. Floyd, the RICO expert, which she hired on the case, but nobody talks about that. I think it's amazing, but maybe only I think that. Also took the stand to testify in his daughter's defense. Formerly a high-ranking Black Panther and co-founder of its political party faction, Floyd said, "It's a Black thing to always hoard wads of cash around the house." Willis acknowledged amassing as much as $15,000 on her best days. During his days entrenched in militant extremism, Floyd opposed law enforcement, previously calling the police an occupying army and the enemy. He also considered Malcolm X his patron saint and adopted Black nationalism as a guiding ideology. The daughter Willis, while majoring in broadcast journalism at the Florida Agricultural and Mechanic University, FAMU, interviewed her mother about millennial justice issues and the importance of women role models in the criminal justice system, as well as how she has handled juggling motherhood and public service. And this is where Fani posted on her X page, the youngest daughter of Fani Willis, a rising senior and journalism major at the Florida Agricultural Mechanical University, will interview her mother on Facebook. And this is when she was running for office June 3rd, 2020. And she was going to have the interview on Thursday, June 4th, 2020, from 6 to 7 p.m. And I have that interview. The district attorney posted the exclusive interview, which was live streamed on social media, to the City of South Fulton's Facebook group as she was running for Fulton County DA in 2020. Back then, she ran on the campaign slogan, "Integrity Matters." Wonder who does it matter to? Wonder has anybody ever asked her whose integrity matter and who does it matter to? Since the scandal, Willis says she's received an outpour of support, especially among Black women. "We are so proud. You are such a good representative of us." And I don't know who those women are, but maybe because they're Black, that may be the issue. Because Black is civilly dead in the eyes of the law, and we refuse to find out who we are and acknowledge who we are. Maybe that's why they can find her as a shero. I don't get it, but hey, who am I and what do I know? We are so proud. You are such a good representative of us, Black women purportedly tell her. I would be lying by saying it's only African American women, Willis told reporters. I have had Caucasian women, Asian women, Indian women. I didn't think I was the face of the feminist movement, but somehow I became it. And that's another problem, because we don't play a role as Asiatic women as feminist movement. We have no reason to be feminist. We've been the backbone of this country forever, ever since we were colonized. We've been the mammy, the nanny, the baby maker for our spouses, as well as the system of slavery. We've been the joke of everything. We've been considered welfare queens. We've been considered the worst of the worst. We can accept any kind of pain. We can be raped and it's okay. We can be beat and we can take it because we don't feel pain. We can endure surgery without anesthesia. We cannot have natural childbirth. No, we get induced with cesareans. Unnatural things has happened to us as women. So we don't need to be feminized. We are femininity. We are the givers of life. We are life. So I don't understand that feminist stuff when we speak of it. because we're the lowest on the totem pole in all reality. Some say we are the only free being outside of the European male in this land. I beg to differ. We're still the lesser paid, but the most worked. We have to go back to work. When they give you 6 weeks, we have to be back to work on that first day after that 6th week, or we don't have a job. It's unfortunate that the men have been taken out of the home due to the judiciary. Remember the crime bill that changed the charges for drug use and drug possession? So we lock up our men and we give our women jobs and welfare because we need a few of you to stay home making babies. And then we need the other women to pretend they're greater than their sons. No, we both have a role. Men have a place and women have a place. And if we could quit fighting each other and see the systems that have put us against one another, we could change the whole way that we live as a people. We've gotten away from family values and family. We look at other cultures and their traditions, not realizing that they got that from us because we were stripped of our identity and our culture and our customs. But it's in us. We just have to get with ourselves and search inside to bring it out. One day we'll get there. I may not see it, but I believe it'll happen one day. In June, while speaking before a black congregation at an African Methodist Episcopal church in Atlanta, Willis accused the media of trying to tear a sister down. I lived the experience of a black woman who is attacked and over-sexualized, she said. All the while she's screwing someone else's husband. Over-sexualized. What does that mean? She's been accused of being in affairs with young drug dealers in her town when she was lawyering. That happened to a lot of our attorneys, and it's true in some cases. I don't know her situation. I can only say she's been accused. I'm so tired of hearing these idiots call my name as Fani in a way to attempt to humiliate me because, like silly schoolboys, the name reminds them of a woman's rear, of her behind. That is how she ended that interview. Editor's note: join Town Hall VIP to support our conservative reporting, fight big tech, and get exclusive access to more from your favorite writers. That's the article, and now I'm going to take you to some of the interview that she did with her daughter, and that's going to be it for me tonight. I must stay committed to me and my people that support me. I thank you that support me, those that show up and those that don't. I'm going to be here. Phyllis says she just keeps on driving on suspended license. She knew she was wrong. It's in the system with that bull. Now their trip is to the jailhouse. Yes, it is. Unfortunately. And you know, I'm sure that I would like to believe that she taught her children right from wrong like we try to do as parents. But children have their own minds and they do their own things. What we used to be taught growing up is that you can do your own thing and you can make up your own mind. But with every action, just know there are consequences. Some children never get to experience consequences, so they don't know what can happen on the other side. But we were taught there are some things that you can get involved in that mom and dad can't get you out of. And so this may be one of those situations, who knows? Perhaps not, because we know when you hold positions, you normally hold favor. That's one of the things about power. And it's nothing wrong with exercising power. It's not. It's the abuse of power. And what we know is power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when we do things, we have to think about the good, the bad, and how we can balance it. Because everything needs checks and balances in life in order to have a successful life. There's got to be checks and balances. So let's see how this sounds. As we try the interview. Now on this, I'm going to mute my mic, and then y'all let me know if y'all get to hear the Facebook mic, because I don't know how that works. So let me mute my mic, and here's an interview back in 2020 when she was running for office.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Katt Not Williams. I am a senior broadcast journalism student at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Today, I will be interviewing my mother, Fani Willis, your candidate for Fulton County District Attorney. Some of you may know her from the APS cheating scandal case. Some of you may know her as your former pro temp judge at South Fulton. But I know her as my mother, and today, I will be sharing her with you, so we'll be having an interesting conversation, so I'm happy to have you all today. I would like to welcome my mother, Fani. Hi, Mommy. Hi. Thank you. Okay, so, hello, how are you?
I'm awesome. It's great to be here this evening.
Are you nervous or anything?
I think this is the most nervous I've been in any interview the entire campaign.
Well, it's okay. It's okay. It's just me.
Okay, perfect. Good.
So I feel like I gave you a proper introduction, but would you like to introduce yourself to everybody on the line?
My name is Fani Willis. We are in the very last days of the campaign for me to be the next district attorney of Fulton County. I have been a resident in Fulton County on and off since 1993, but consistently for the last 16 years. The biggest honor of my life is sitting next to me along with her sister. I have two daughters that are 20 and 22 years old. My career I've gotten a chance to do a little bit of everything in these 24 years, and hopefully as we discuss things, you will learn that I am going to be your next best candidate for Fulton County DA. My last job was as the chief pro tem judge for the city of South Fulton, but before that I was a felony prosecutor for more than 16 years, where I've tried hundreds of cases, over 800 cases I should say, and most of those were homicides. Also was a solicitor before that, and I've been in private practice where I've represented people charged with crimes and also in family law matters. My specialty in family law is I typically represent fathers and men.
Okay, so we can talk about accolades all day, but the people said they want to get to know you.
Very good.
Okay, so are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, so I'm very excited to interview you today.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of scared of what your daughter might ask, but okay.
Okay, so you told everybody our ages, me and Nia, but tell everyone a little bit about your daughters, me and Nia.
So my oldest daughter is Nia Willis. She's 22 years old, and she's my artsy child. We are on what I call the long journey through school, meaning, we take a semester off and we're on a semester. But she is a wonderful artist, very, very kind. We're going to try this going back to school again in the fall, and I'm just very proud of her. Her journey is different than mine, certainly, but it's her journey, and I'm encouraging her in it and can't wait to see what she'll become. My youngest daughter sits next to me. She is a rising senior at Florida A&M University. She is a journalism major. She's done some amazing things in her career. Just did a kind of a video that everyone's looked at called The Experience about the mascot for Florida A&M University. I expect her to do big, great things and pay me some of this money back that I've been spending on her. But they are my biggest accomplishment.
Okay, so I know you went to Howard, HU. I go to FAMU. So we all know HBCUs provide the experience of just being around Black people and basically the experience of Black excellence. Can you tell everybody a little bit about your time at Howard?
Well, first of all, if there was a disappointment with my daughters, I begged her to go to Howard University, to which she told me that she was not going where it was cold, because we know that Howard University is in Washington, D.C., and it is the #1 HBCU. We won't have that entire argument on film tonight. But to me, I went to Howard because it instilled in me that you have to be excellent, you have to be great, you have to compete in a world of everyone, but sometimes because you're a woman or a minority, you will be judged for that, and so you always have to rise above the occasion. But the other great thing about a historically Black college and university for me was there was a support system there, there was a love there, more Black students that go to college, that go to HBCUs graduate, and I would say that's not because those schools are easier, but because they are more encouraged, and so it was a great experience for me, and it was one that I insisted on for my children, and I'm proud of that.
Okay, thank you. I love FAM. I feel like it was one of the best options I could ever make, just to tell y'all a little bit about HBCUs, but we won't get into that. And like we said, we're not gonna have that argument on film today. But you know,
FAM is another great choice, but it's not how. But it's okay. Mom has gotten over that.
Okay, so I know early on in your career you worked in the Women's and Children's Division at the District Attorney's Office. I know those cases can be heavy. So can you tell me a little bit about your experience there and how it shaped you kind of being a mother? Because I know we were very young during that time.
So when I became an assistant district attorney, it was October of 2001. And so I went through the trial division, which tries your armed robberies, your aggravated assaults, also through what is known as kind of the charging unit of the office. After that, by about 2003, I was in the crimes against women and children cases, and that's exactly what it says. It's your child molestations, your rapes, the things that are heavy. At the time, me and my husband, her father, were divorcing or divorced, and so I had these two little girls, and it was just me and my little girls. I think Kinaya would have been about 3 at that time, and her sister was 5. They're 19 months apart. And the little girls that I was interviewing were the same age as my children, so that's a hard experience, but it's an important experience. I sat on the floor of my office many days. I would never sit across a desk from a child. It's already intimidating to come into that kind of setting. I would sit on the floor with them, and we would talk about horrible things that someone did to them. But having my own children, it made me understand how to relate to those children and how to make them trust me so that they could tell me things that we don't discuss in polite conversation. But it gave me a passion for this work, and are those kind of experiences that I think that a district attorney must have, because they must know how to help the DAs that are going to serve under them, because that's something that's mentally taxing, and you have to know that and be able to support people. You also have to understand your victims, and some things you can't just read about in a book. You have to actually live. And so although it was a hard time in my career, it was a necessary time, and it became a really important foundation, because I went on from there to major case, which is the homicide division, where I was for 8 years. On average, I would have 25 murders a year, 12 of which I would take to trial. The others may resolve in some other fashion or get forwarded to the next year. But I also got to do cold cases, which was a combination of that experience as a sex prosecutor and also as a major case prosecutor. And so I have learned in my career that no matter how hard your experiences are, each give you a step that you need for the next step in your career. And so it's not my favorite time as an attorney, but it's a time that was needed, and those prosecutors are some of the greatest.
Okay, so I think you mentioned something very important when we just talked about. You said you used to sit down with the victims and look them eye to eye. That's a very human thing to do. on just a human level. Forget the cases, forget the prosecution. Can you tell why it's important to still be a human while doing this job, while doing this necessary job of district attorney or prosecution or anything in law enforcement?
It's absolutely important to remain a human. The thing that people always say about me, the thing my father taught me, I was raised by my father, is that you have to be able to relate to PhDs and no Ds, meaning people with lots of education and people with no education. And you have to be able to talk to them. When you are a prosecutor, you talk to people at their most vulnerable state, and you need to have compassion from them and what they're going through, and so that is important. Also in the role as a supervisor, my lawyers went through terrible things because they are human beings, and one of my lawyer's brothers was murdered while I supervised him. And knowing how to love on them so they could get through these hard cases and what happens in their personal life, that was important. But also making sure that the people that worked under me knew that even the people that were charged were not just names in a file, and we could not just process them, and teaching people dignity, and that they had to respect those people that were charged. And so I really instilled that in the lawyers that I supervised once I became a supervisor, to tell them, people make mistakes, and we can get over those mistakes, those technical problems, and we will deal with those and go on to the next case. But what I never excuse in any of my prosecutors is allowing them to think that they were bigger than someone, better than someone, or more important than them because of the education they had, or because of their income, that they were just the same as the people that were charged, and they were just the same as the victims that we found that often were from different circumstances than ourselves. So it's very important to be a human. I would say that your integrity and your humanness, it is even more important than all those laws you learn in the books.
Okay, how does your motherhood skills translate into the courtroom? Or vice versa, how does your prosecution skills translate into being a better mother?
I think that my children make me a better prosecutor, and I'll give you a classic example of how my children make me a better human being. 2 days ago, or 3 days ago, after the George Floyd incident, I posted on Facebook one of my great frustrations in life, and that was that what we saw in that case was horrible, and we watched a horrible prosecutor initially react to that case. I would say the same thing is true in that Ahmaud Arbery case. We watched prosecutors act horribly. What is frustrating to me is that people in communities don't know their power, and they don't know that if they can vote these horrible people out of office. And so I want to see that power, and so I posted that. But in that comment, I posted, this is on us, this is our fault, because we let these horrible human beings stay in positions that they did not deserve. And I'm going to tell you something. My daughter sitting right here, she checked me, and she checked me hard. She said, Mom, before you're a lawyer or anything else, you're black, and you're a black woman, and it is not okay what they did to black people. And yes, people should vote, but if they never cast a vote, it's not okay what they did. And she was right, and I was wrong. Although I think it is important and we ought to get this scum out of office, it also is not the people's fault of what happened to them. And so my children make me a better human being.
I know, I just had to say something because we're black before anything else. Before anything. Okay, so moving on. More about being a mother. What would you say to any working full-time moms that feel like they just can't do it? Like, because I mean, you worked our whole life. Like, that's what I grew up seeing, a working woman. So, but I just see a lot of women who say, like, you just can't have it all. You can't do it all. You can't be a family person and a professional. So what would you say to those people?
I would say the journey is hard, and that you probably have to rely on a higher being to help you, and that you are always going to feel guilty. If you don't work, you're probably going to feel guilty because you can't provide for your children. If you do work, you're going to feel guilty because there are hours away from them, and that you just really have to learn how to try to be everything to both, and sometimes that means you take a lot away from yourself. But for me, it was important, and it's just my decision for my life. I wanted to show my daughters that they could do anything, and the best way to show them that is to be that.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to take a break, everyone, and we will be going to commercial, but we will be right back. So we'll see you later. Well, stay on the line.
Is up. Too many problems. Fani Willis will protect us. 24-year prosecutor, lawyer, and judge.
I'm Fani Willis. I will serve with integrity, treat people fairly, and keep our community safe.
Okay. Hi, everybody. We are back. Hello. Hi, mommy. Okay, so when you became a judge at South Fulton, everybody was elated. The family was elated. I remember your ceremony, and there were tears. Everybody was happy. It was a lot of support. So we were okay. The family was okay. Like, we thought this was it. Okay. Mommy's a judge, so this is it. Like, so what made you quit your job to want to run this campaign? Because I know campaigns are expensive, long, and hard. So what made you say, I want to run a campaign and become district attorney?
So this is a real personal part of my journey. First of all, I will forever be grateful to Mayor Bill Edwards. I'll actually be forever grateful to a young lady named Shawnee Chase Rucker who mentioned my name to Bill Edwards, even though there seems to be hurt feelings at this time. I will forever be grateful. I absolutely love being the chief judge for my city. I loved it because I got to work with the other judges that I hired to work there in the city. I loved it because we could instill into that court integrity, and there have been some issues and some questions in a new city, and I'm very proud of the city of South Fulton. I loved it because the citizens that came into my courtroom, we were putting them in diversion programs and changing lives around and showing them that when you walked into court, there could be someone there that cared about you and that just wasn't there to just process you like you didn't matter. And so it was a highlight of my career, and I was excited to have it. But for years, people have been coming to me asking me to run for district attorney. And we got to a point where a district attorney that I had really admired at one point had done things for reasons I'll probably never understand. I'll probably be at my last day and not understand these choices. And he had honestly put me as a Democrat in jeopardy of us losing this seat. And it is not fair for citizens to lose faith in the person that is supposed to protect them and take them safe. If you have someone in that role that the goal is always to serve their needs and not the people's needs, we as society are in trouble. We see what happens when leaders are more about themselves than service. And God called me to service, and I was like that little kid with the small teddy bear and the big teddy bear. This was the year that for once my kids are old enough. I had actually started redecorating my house. I was going to go to Paris. Quite frankly, the city of South Fulton was paying me nicely. I was able to keep my practice. I had started to acquire, actresses and athletes and just the kind of clientele that I wanted, professionals, and everything was going well. But sometimes God calls you to service, and I truly feel like the county needs me, and they need someone with integrity right now who has the experience to do the job to really help people. And so I stepped out on faith. Even though for my own personal family, somehow God's gonna make a way. I'm gonna get that tuition paid, I promise. And I know that my family has concerns because this has put us in a financial bond, but I truly believe that God is going to make a way, and then we're going to do great things for this county.
So service over self.
Service over self. I taught you something.
I'll give you a little something. I'll give you a little credit.
We'll get a little.
Okay, so your name is Integrity Matters. That's all over the city right now with your name, class, and name. What does that mean to you?
What does integrity matters mean to me? And what integrity matters is you do what's right when no one is looking. You do what's right because it is the right thing to do. You do what's right not because it's popular, because it's right. I'm asked over and over again, are you a progressive DA? Are you a...
She sounds like she's saying a speech right there because we know she didn't live integrity. She didn't live integrity when she was rumored to sleep with the man that she won against. And we certainly know she didn't use integrity when she prosecuted the school teachers when it didn't have to happen that way. It was told that there were cheating all over the state and other school systems, predominantly European, but she chose to prosecute in Fulton County, the majority being Asiatic Americans, and that's unfortunate, but that's what she did. And her integrity in hiring Nathan Wade as the special prosecutor in a RICO case, when she hired the RICO man who invented the RICO for the state almost, is really unimaginable. But that's what happened. That's where we are. And he showed up in the YSL case. I've seen him once. Maybe he's been there before. But he came when they were really in danger, when they changed judges. We're going to see what happens in this case. But I don't believe much of what she's saying. And what I did was sped up the speed on this video, because when you use other people's stuff, you got to make some kind of change to it. And I know I've added the music, but I also want to change the speed to respect their copyrights. And so that's what we do, and that's the guidelines for YouTube. So that's why she sounds like she's talking a little fast. She's really arrogant in her speech, but fast make her sound a little more likable.
Progressive DA. I'm still not quite sure what it means. Are you a progressive DA? But this is what I can tell you. Nobody will be charged with a crime based on silliness, meaning their socioeconomic status or their race. No employee will work for me that believes that that's the right way to prosecute. No employee will come to me and believe that they are going to get promoted or demoted because of their sexuality. I am going to make sure that women feel respected and are advanced. But the same to men, that they are going to get treated in a way that is respectful. And I am excited to bring that family feeling to the district attorney's office, because it's going to be a hard job and we're going to work hard, but we're going to do it with integrity, mean doing what's right when nobody cares. When it's not the rich CEO's son, but when it is somebody that nobody knows, John Doe, we're still going to be doing what's right. We're not going to be doing what's right because the cameras are on, or we believe we can get 2 or 3 more votes right now. So we make decisions that are not based on facts and evidence, but based on self and trying to get advancement.
Okay. Thank you. Tell me about your time in the district attorney's office in a quick top from bottom. Just let people know everything you did in the district attorney's office.
So I went there in 2001, and I worked in what's called the complaint room, which is the charging unit. Did extraditions for a while, which is when you have to bring people that have been charged with something back to the state of Georgia. I then worked about 1.5 years in the complex division, which is all your drug trafficking, armed robbery, aggravated assault. Tried about 10 cases in that unit, 6, 7, 10, somewhere around there. I then went to crimes against women and children and tried some rapes and some child molestations and those kind of cases. I then spent 8 years between major felonies and the cold case unit.
And when she worked in the area with we call them grapes because for a better term, they don't like for us to use the term RAPE because of the effect it may have on the listener. It's amazing to me how she had monies, $2 million, to test those kits that are backlogged, and she didn't use it for not one kit. So it's amazing how people talk before they get in office and how they act once they get in office, which she had been in the DA's office for a good 15 or 16 years. So it's just really amazing to hear people and how comfortable she sound and how motherly she sound. So different than the sound that she has today. But it is what it is.
Where I tried all homicides, some which were cold cases. Went on from there to do what is known as the longest case in the state of Georgia's history, which is the Atlanta Public Schools cheating scandal. I was the lead prosecutor on there. I supervised the complex division, which is the largest division of that office, for about 4 years. I had 25 lawyers that reported to me, as well as their staff, and I made those decisions on those cases. Spent a lot of time changing terrible indictments from the complaint room, making sure that they were charged properly and that people were treated fairly. I then resigned in 2018. Came and opened my own practice on Piedmont Avenue, where I do criminal defense and family law. And as I said, in 2019, in conjunction with my practice, I got to be the chief judge for the city of South Fulton. And in March, we took this journey to be the next district attorney.
Did you notice any problems while you were at the district attorney's office without getting too specific?
I noticed a lot of problems while in the district attorney's office. I thought that it was a waste of resources, that my unit as the trial division had to constantly go back and fix things that were done improperly as cases were received. It was not just a technical improper, but it meant that someone had sat in jail for 3 months that had no business there, and that is not humane to me. I noticed that.
And under her power right now today, they have men and women that's been sitting in jail and never been indicted, period, for over a year, which is amazing. But she cares, and she changed indictments. They even have the YSL indictment all messed up. But this is the DA that signed off on an immunity deal that a man didn't even know that he was going to get. This is the woman that signed off on all of these young men plea deals, which now they're putting them on the witness stand to impeach them so that they can send them to prison for perjury, because they can send them to prison for perjury. It's really amazing how we see in operation an Asiatic woman, a mother of 2 daughters, do the things that these women are doing with a clear conscience they appear to have, with smiles on their faces, and they're actually doing this. It reminds me of the railroad system. Our children are being railroaded, but yet she and her ex-lover shows up on the side of the freeway for her daughter, which is a good thing, I guess, to have somebody with you that you believe in, that you paid over $1 million to. I guess she's still paying.
That there was a problem with the retention rate, that the way people were treated, that literally we had a running list every year of how many people were going to leave the office, and of an office of 109 lawyers and 230 employees, every year we're hitting 80 and 90 people leaving because they can't deal with the management. I noticed a culture that did not foster being supported and loved, but rather working on terror. And for a long time, I stood as the buffer for a lot of people, and that began to grow on me and to really become weary. I became weary with that. So I noticed a lot of problems, but I'll tell people being a district attorney is one of the jobs I am the most proud of. I tell everyone it's no slight to a defense attorney, but as a prosecutor, you can do so much good, so much more than any defense attorney, not because you're better than them, but because you touch so many more lives. That we have to have people with integrity and compassion in those positions because they can really change the world. They can do things that a defense attorney just doesn't have access to do to make sure that people are treated right. So it's a job I'm very proud of, and I wouldn't give up a day of it.
So, in something short, you would say it's mismanaged.
It's very mismanaged.
In one simple word, it's mismanaged.
It's mismanaged.
Okay. So, I know there have been federal lawsuits against Paul Howard. Can you tell me and the people a little bit more about him?
Well, first of all, there are 3 pending federal lawsuits. Interestingly enough, 2 of the young ladies I don't know at all. One is for a gender discrimination. I've never met this woman before, but her basic allegations are that she was, I think, in a high-risk pregnancy, and she was kind of told that she should be ashamed of herself because the men have to do her job, and she was then fired. And so that is the basis of one. The other are 2 sexual harassment lawsuits. One is a young lady named Tisa Grimes. I think I may have met Tisa once, but she was there about 2 months before I left. I have no personal knowledge of her, but if you go and read that lawsuit, it is sickening, the things that she said that she was made to do. The other lawsuit is by a young lady named Kathy Carter. It's a graphic lawsuit. The lawyer has let me hear the tape. It's disgusting language that he's saying to an employee and begging for her to have sexual intercourse with her, except he doesn't say it that kindly, and just talking to her in a way that is just completely inappropriate for someone. I know Kathy. Kathy was someone that, I think she's nice. She's a nice young lady. Had always heard the rumors that there was this inappropriate sexual relationship between them, but honestly, I didn't think that was going on. But the world now knows that she has admitted to having sex in the district attorney's office with this man, and no woman should be pressured into that behavior at their job. And I feel really bad that she didn't feel like she could confide in anyone to protect her. I feel really awful about that.
As a woman, that is something hard.
And what's so sad about that, her great friend who sit on, well, she lost her seat this time, but she's still sitting, Natalie Hall, on the commissioner's board, who helps funnel the millions into her office. She had an EEO lawsuit that she lost and cost the city of Fulton County, well, I guess it's the city of Atlanta, the county of Fulton, $1.2 million that she had to pay out to a man that she sexually harassed, and she has not brought any charges against her to this day. It is really sad. The man who was stalking Representative Maynor, he had criminal charges, and some of his criminal charges she reduced to misdemeanor, which he ended up still getting felonies because he wouldn't stop, and he had to go to jail and prison. So this woman, like I said, talks a good game, as most people do when they're running for office. But while they're in office, the story often changes. And it's really sad because she has daughters. And one thing that we care about all of our children, our sons and our daughters. But this is the role model, and I guess that's why her daughter is on the side of the road with driving while suspended license. I don't know. She say that she taught them well. She talk a good game. but I don't know if she live it, because children oftentimes, they will, a lot of parents say, don't do what I do what I say do. But children are the total opposite. They hear what you say, but they do what they see you do. And although she may not be criminal today, but a lot of her DA behavior is criminal behavior. And because she is the top law enforcer in Fulton County, she gets to get away with it today. But we do know that everyone has to answer to something other than ourselves. Her answer is to the people, and a lot of people don't realize that they can file complaints. So many people are afraid or think that they're doing something, maybe claiming an extra person on their income taxes, or maybe they're allowing somebody else to claim their persons on their income taxes. It's things like that people in the hood do that make them feel that they're unworthy of justice. That's not right to do. Do know that. But life circumstances causes us to make some bad and some poor decisions sometimes. Sometimes we may write a check that we know we don't have money in the bank, but today they found a way to make money. They give us overdraft privilege. So it's not considered a hot check anymore. You just pay the overdraft fee and then you try to maintain your home and your lifestyle. So there may be a lot of decisions that may not be right for some, and may not be ethical or moral for others, but we do what we do to get through the day. The common law says, as long as I don't harm you and you don't harm me, no harm is done. Capitalism has made it that everything is about money. So if you can make money, then you okay. But humanism says that we're going to answer one way or another. And you have to make the decision that's right for you. Paul says in the Son book, all things are lawful, but all things are not expedient. You can do anything you want to do, but what he's warning is there are consequences to your actions. You may pay today, you may pay tomorrow, but you will pay. I may not ever see it, and I don't have to. What we have to remember is justice delayed is justice denied for the moment. But I also believe that all things work together for the good for those that are called according, I'm going to say, to your purpose. And only you know what your purpose is. If you haven't found your purpose, seek your purpose. You'll be happier. I promise you. Happiness is based on happenings, but joy comes from knowing who you are and being the authentic you. I encourage anybody with any years of life to get a YouTube page. Share your knowledge. We have so many children that are not learning. Their creativity is being suppressed. Boy, if you could do something. What if they saw you one day, or their parents, who probably would love to sew, but never seen or owned a sewing machine? They heard about home economics used to be in the school. They heard about their aunts and their grannies used to quilt and sew and make dresses, but they don't see it. Imagine if you decided to just pull out your sewing machine and show somebody how to do a hem. You just don't know what difference you can make in somebody's life. That's why I keep coming on here, whether it's one person or none, whether it's 7 or 100. I've never gotten past 100. And I've been here for 3 years. And perhaps it's because I don't stick to one thing. I didn't come here to stick to one thing. I came here to be me, and that's who I am. So I thank all of you who listen, who come, who go. I appreciate it. Every moment of your time that you give to me, I appreciate it. So let me get back to this interview that sounds so beautiful, but so disingenuous.
It's something that I want to make sure that you and Nia, no one, you don't ever have to stay in that environment. You always got your mama till she got her last breath. And two, that it's not your shame. And that's what life always circles back. That's what you saw in those victims that were the victims of the sexual assault. They always blame themselves. And the truth is, it's never your fault for someone violating you. Kathy doesn't have my education, or she doesn't have all of my opportunities, but she still got value and she has worth. And how dare him take advantage of her, another woman? How dare him?
Okay, so I want the people to know what will happen if he is reelected and kicked out of office.
If he is reelected and kicked out of office, the governor gets still appointed. That's just the reality. We have a Republican governor of this state. He has done some diverse appointments. He has not done diverse appointments in Fulton County. Don't blame me for telling the truth. That is the truth. And I am scared that we will get someone that does not have my experience with this court system, does not have my compassion, does not have my heart, and that Fulton County won't be in the position it'll be if they make the choice to elect me on June the 9th.
Do you feel any way about running against your former boss?
I feel a lot of ways about running against my former boss. It was the hardest thing to do. It's not my intention in this race to hurt him, but I am so disappointed in him. I am heartbroken. Let me say this, and I'll just say it for the record so everyone knows. Paul Howard is a smart man, but because he is a smart man, I know he knows what he was doing. But Paul Howard long ago believed the district attorney's office belonged to him and forgot it belonged to the people, and for that reason he has to go.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this section up and we are going to go commercial. There will be a time for everybody to ask questions, so please hold your questions till the end. We will take them towards the end, but we're going to commercial and we'll be right back.
District Attorney Paul Howard, under criminal investigation by the GBI for pocketing money meant to fight gang violence. Howard's been sued repeatedly for sexual harassment and discrimination. Taxpayers have paid hundreds of thousands in settlements. Fulton County, it's time for change. District Attorney Paul Howard's time is up. Too many problems. Fani Willis will protect us. 24-year prosecutor, lawyer, and judge.
I'm Fani Willis. I will serve with integrity, treat people fairly, and keep my community safe.
Hi everybody, welcome back. My name is Katt Not Williams and this is Fani Willis, my mother, and we are happy to have everyone on Facebook
What is the
Live
biggest
today.
and most profitable market you can think of?
So everyone knows that it is a lot going on in the world right now. We have Corona, we have Black Lives Matter, we have protests, we have riots, and the economy is also failing. So I wanted to know your stance on everything that is going on right now. I know it is a lot of things going on in Atlanta, and we personally cannot speak about them just because if she did win, she would be the prosecutor of those cases. So we are not avoiding them, but we just cannot talk about them for reasons.
And I have to correct one thing. When she does win, it would be inappropriate for me to prosecute on crimes that are alleged to have happened in the city of Atlanta, and because it will be my office that ultimately evaluates those cases, I would not do anything to jeopardize my office's ability to look at those cases. And so I'm happy to talk to you about cases around the world, but just not here in our county.
Okay, so we're not avoiding them. All right. So everybody saw the George Floyd video. It was heartbreaking. We literally saw a man die on camera. So I want to know your thoughts. Did you watch the video?
I have. It was very hard to watch, even with the career I've had, even with the fact that I've gotten up for many years at night and walked over people's dead bodies. That video was hard to watch.
He is not the first one, as we all know. It is a problem, actually, in America. And I just want to know what you would do if you were this district attorney in Minneapolis at the time. How do you think it was mishandled?
I was disgusted by the way he's not only a prosecutor. I think I mentioned that at full court with the way the district attorney handled it. I actually think that the prosecuting attorney is in part responsible for all of these riots. And there's a reason that I say that. When the world had seen the video, and he had seen the video as well, he came out and said he's not sure if there are charges. Now let me be very clear. Part of my platform is that I'm not going to just be charging people. We have to do some case evaluation so that you can come up with the proper charges, so you can investigate properly All of that I understand. But it was evidence. The malice to the murder, the abandoned, malignant heart to the murder, we witnessed on film. If I had been the prosecutor in that case, what I would have announced is, I'm gonna need you all to be patient with me, because we have to get this right. Because I don't know how many charges we're going to be putting on this individual, but it wouldn't be a question if we are going to charge. I would have had my best and brightest lawyers in a room, and for days, they would have probably worked some long hours until we researched through all of the evidence. Most of that evidence was caught right there on film. We would have gone and interviewed those clerks and done the necessary things that we needed to do. Offered those officers an opportunity to make a statement, offered the witnesses on the scene. But once that work is done, we would have crafted an indictment where we could prove the elements of that crime. And so I think by the fact that the district attorney came on and acted like this was something as a society we could excuse, it has outraged black people, white people, Chinese people. You can't be a human being and not watch that video and not be outraged. And so I would have handled it completely different from day one.
I think that's why it's important to be a human before anything else.
It's absolutely, it's not only important to be a human, it's important to recognize whether they look like you, whether their sexuality is the same as you, whether they are in the same socioeconomic bracket that every single human being that walks this earth has value. Even human beings that make horrible and horrific mistakes have value.
What's your stance on Black Lives Matter movement?
I don't understand why people get offended by that term, that Black Lives Matter. It doesn't mean that blue lives don't matter, because police officers matter. It doesn't mean that white lives don't matter. What it means is that black people have watched harm come to other black people, and they are asking society to recognize that we matter as well. I don't know why.
One good question one should ask is, Black lives matter to who? Since black is civilly dead in the eyes of the law, and we are at the lowest of the totem pole, who does it matter to? And what systems are being put in place to show that it matters? What support do we have other than a welfare system that keeps us broken? Why can't we be able to go to work and go to a bank in our community and apply for a loan and receive money? Why can't that happen for us? It sounds good to say Black Lives Matter, but have no economy. And if you have no economy, you really don't have life. You have a lot of survivors. People just surviving. But we all have a purpose. And again, I suggest that you seek your purpose. And you can get inspiration from anything and anybody. Sometimes life is so hard that you don't feel inspired. Sometimes you don't even feel like going on, but you must. You have children, you have parents, you have obligations. More importantly, you have yourself. And Michael Jackson taught us that if you want to make the world a better place, you got to look at yourself and make that change. So it starts with you. I call it the you factor. Everything starts and ends with you. It's your decision. It's your action or inaction. And I know I probably am preaching to the choir, because whomever I'm speaking to may be people that listen to me all the time, but I'm a repeater. You could call me a repeat offender. I'm just like the Sun Book. If you go to the Gospels, you'll find 4 different versions of the very same scripture, because they're coming from 4 different people. And so it's just me, myself, and I. And so I'm going to repeat them. Me, myself, and I. Because repetition strengthens and confirms. Faith comes naturally. Sometimes we just need a bit of encouragement. And sometimes we have to encourage ourselves. Even when we feel in our lowest, we got to find something. If it's nothing but to remember your mom if she's no longer with us. Or if she's with us, give her a call to hear her voice. Whether she fuss or whether she make you smile. Your dad, your child, your sibling, an old friend, a cousin. It takes what it takes. And only you know what it takes for you. Nobody else knows. And one thing I try to express to people, whatever you feel, nobody is going to feel what you feel. Whether it's pain or happiness, nobody can feel the depth of that feeling but the individual. And I know you probably know that as an adult. But being a 65-year-old woman, I just kind of like to share things because some people may have missed those lessons. I was truly blessed to have my mom and my dad growing up. My dad was a rolling stone, in my opinion, but he taught us a lot of good things from a male's perspective. And as a man, I respect him and love him dearly. Wish I had an opportunity to chop it up with him to let him know some of the things that he was trying to teach us. I got it today. I got it now. I couldn't grasp it back then. My mother taught me one of the best lessons in life, and it has gotten me to where I am today. And that's to envy no one for what they have, because you just might not want to pay the price that they're willing to pay. And she ain't lied yet about that. I envy no one. Encourage all. That's what life is all about. Each one, reach one, teach one. Do the best you can. Sometimes our best is not good enough. But that's all we got is ourselves. So we give it our all. Let's hear a little bit more of this lady and we're going to sign out.
That is offensive. People have got to have a way to express themselves. And we have to recognize that there's a problem. And it didn't start with George Floyd. I mean, Philando Castile is one of the ones that just bothers me to my core. And I have too many names in my head. And the names have to stop.
Why do you think this was the breaking point? Why do you think George Floyd's case was the case that made everybody start going out and protesting and rioting? Because it's never been like this. It's protesting all 50 states at the moment.
I think because enough is enough. I think enough is enough. And within a month, we had Ahmaud Arbery, we had Breonna, and we had George Floyd. They were back to back. People are in this powder keg right now of Corona, and your money is not right, and you're watching people be victimized. And let me say something. That is a horrible, horrible thing to happen to George Floyd. But the absolute worst thing for a good cop is a bad cop. And one reason that my office will take such a tough stance on bad cops is because I want the community to know that they can rely on me of weeding that out, and that way they can have faith in those men and women in blue that serve us every day, because that is a hard job.
What are the next steps you think people should take within their own communities after the protest, after the riot?
Well, I think that that's the most important question for people. What is the next step? And so this goes back to why I got in trouble with my child. But if you're not registered to vote, you better get registered to vote. Because the power for us to change things and not to have someone that incites negativity. There is a candidate running against me, and this is not about them, but to me they put seeds of divisiveness. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be divisive. It is time for us as a country to come together to say that we are going to protect everyone and we're going to stand up for everyone. That we have no room anymore for divisiveness. We have to come together. We have to support each other. You have to be held accountable when you did it wrong. And the next steps for us is to vote people that do those kind of things and lack integrity out of office quickly. And we truly, as a people, all those protesters registered to vote, they could change the world. And so I want them to change the world, but I also want them to do acts of service for those people that need help so we can uplift them.
Okay, thank you so much for speaking on that. So we will be going to commercial, but we will be taking questions after commercial. So everybody get your questions ready. I hope you're ready because I'm ready. Our moderator is ready. So we'll be right back.
Time is up. Too many problems. Fani Willis will protect us. 24-year prosecutor, lawyer, and judge. I'm Fani Willis.
I hate to burst the bubble, but you can vote blindly and you can vote intelligibly. So I would ask you, intelligible might be something I just made up, intelligently. The best thing that you can do is to educate yourself on whomever you choose to vote for. And then also realize if you're not supporting the one you vote, then you're not going to get whatever it is that you want to happen for you, because you got to support the individuals that you want to support you, and then you got to have something for them to support. And that's something that we as a people never do. We never give them an agenda for them to back for us. We never go with solutions and say, this is what I need you to invest in, and this is where I want you to step in and do something about. And until we do that as a people, then we're not going to see any changes. I don't care how you vote and who you vote for. We've got to get involved more than just punching the name. We got to support the candidate. And then we got to know what candidate we're supporting. It's very important.
I will serve with integrity, treat people fairly, and keep our community safe.
Okay, welcome back everybody. My name is Katt Williams and I have my mother with me, Fani, and we are ready to take your questions. So we have our moderator Jeremy behind the camera, so ask away. What are they saying?
There are no questions yet, but we will ask everyone to please ask questions now. This is the time.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready, let's get it. Because if not, Jeremy gets to ask questions, and that's a little frightening.
So I have a question. It comes from Jayla. You briefly spoke about how incumbent Paul Howard forgot the DA office belongs to the people. If given the position as DA, what will you do to remind them?
What will I do to remind the ADA that the office belongs to the people, and what will I do to remind myself that the position belongs to the people? One, we're going to be an office of service. I love being a trial lawyer, so people have told me, you're not going to be a trial lawyer anymore. You're going to be the policy maker. And one thing that I will do to remind them is that we're going to have training that talks about inclusiveness of the community. But we are also going to have town halls. It is my intention as part of my plan is to 10 times a year go to the different regions of the county and to hear from them as to what is their concerns for their particular community, because we know that the problems that affect South Fulton may be a little different than what affects Johns Creek, and so we are going to make sure that we are about service. Another thing that I'm going to do so that we are accessible is we have a courthouse down in South Fulton that is used by prosecutors, but it's not used very often. We're going to use it actively so that those citizens can come there. But we are also going to use a building in North Fulton so that that community can also come there. I'm also going to put out transparency reports that tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Hey, guess what? This year, the DA's office failed at this. We exceeded at this. People need to know that we're going to keep it 100 and real. Another thing that I'm going to do is I am going to keep a notebook for the public where if we have had problems with a law enforcement officer, we found that they did not do their job or that there's too many complaints, I'm not going to hide that information from the public. And certainly if I have problems with one of my DAs, they won't be with my DA very long.
I'm seeing multiple questions about the complaint room. Will you keep the complaint room? And if so, what changes will be made?
So I argued with this about someone yesterday, and the answer to that is effectively no. But what we decided after we worked through that issue is we will probably not destroy it completely, meaning it will be modified. So what will we keep in the complaint room? It will be some place that officers can come and bring a complaint. But what will happen is I am going to staff that complaint room with 15 investigators. Did anybody hear me? 15. And it's going to be not my rookie investigators, but my most seasoned investigators. I'm also going to put 15 lawyers into the charging unit. And those lawyers' entire job and investigators' entire job will not be to try cases. It will be to put cases together so that when the case goes to the other floors, that it will be prepared. Cases are not like wine. They do not get better with time. If you don't get those witnesses locked in on the front end, if you don't get those cameras on the front end, if you don't get the evidence on the front end, you just cannot do a good job. And as a result, we will have cases that are charged well. We will have cases that are dismissed because the evidence is not there. It will also be where I have someone assigned, both a social worker and an ADA, that their whole job is to filter into the pre-indictment diversion program that I plan to establish, and to filter people into our accountability courts. The judges are going to notice that their case counts are going to go down, but my pre-indictment diversion program is going to go up. And in some cases, are just not going to get handled because the evidence is not there.
Tanzia Ward says, what policies or new procedural requirement would you support being enacted to prevent unethical brutality cases like George Floyd and Breonna Taylor? Also, what do you propose the Atlanta Detention Center be turned into? I think it should be turned into the Youth Recreation Development Center.
Well, so let me answer the question. What other candidates will tell you is a bunch of garbage of what they can do and what they can't do. Policies, obviously, you probably know, but I want to make sure all the listeners know, they come from the legislature. But I have a lot of good friends that are in the legislature, and so I will absolutely be working as an advocate and a lobbyist to not just that law. I'm really, really passionate about the hate crime bill, but that's not what you asked about. But other laws that I think are important to community that I will be advocating for. Definitely that we see things happen to people that misuse their power. To me, the police are there to protect and serve. An assistant district attorney is there to protect and serve. And so we have to make sure that they remember their duty and that we commend those that do that, because so many do it honorably. But we commend those and we lift those up that do it honorably, and that we get rid of the bad apples because they ruin it for everybody. And it's just, it's not going to be tolerated. And yes, I will absolutely be an advocate. If I did not answer a part of your question, please give it to me again. Oh, the detention center. I love your idea, but the reality is the detention center belongs to the city of Atlanta. I would love for it to be part of my pre-trial, pre-indictment diversion program, but that's honestly something that's going to be out of my wheelhouse. I can give all my creative ideas, but I don't want to overstate what my power is, because that's under your mayor, the mayor of Atlanta.
What will you do to remove backlog of cases pending with various judges?
Right now, what has happened is Paul Howard has what I call his re-election committee, and those are some of the community prosecutors. Those prosecutors go out and they do little cutesy things, but they do not try cases. I plan to go back to the old days. The old days is where you had assistant DA that was a senior attorney and a junior attorney in the courtroom. There's going to be one of those in each courtroom, and we're going to do some different things with the units, but I'm going to put staff in there. Also, I'm going to put a team only for the first year that their whole job is going to be to go through the cases. There's a lot of cases that shouldn't be there. We're going to start getting rid of them. Because, and let me be clear, I'm not the prosecutor that's going to get rid of everything. I want my lawyers focused on removing the people that are dangerous and violent, and you can't do it when you're distracted by all the junk.
What would your policy?
She want her people that are to remove the people that are dangerous and violent, but yet they had Kenneth Copeland on the 12 most dangerous in Fulton County, and he wasn't indicted on the YSL case. Now, do you believe she really want that? Jeffrey Williams doesn't have a felony. So according to the law, he's not dangerous. He's not a criminal. But the accusation is there. He's being accused and he can't make bond. Do you really believe that's what she wants? I would ask you guys from now to November to study your DA. Now, if no one runs against her, they said this young lady is running against her, and I haven't seen any advertisement of this young lady, so I don't know if that's real or not. But I do know this, that the power is in the people if the people take their place. I would ask you all to start studying the Constitution. Many people say it's not for us. No, it is for us. It's the way it's written. Once you start studying it, you'll understand, overstand, and understand how they have changed the meaning of the Constitution. But trust me, it's for us because it was also written by us. We just don't get the credit. Remember, our identity was stolen, our history erased, and we were given a story of his story, not our story. And until you research for yourself, you'll never know the truth. I think we've heard enough of Fani Willis. I just kind of wanted to just remind you guys through all of what's going on with YSL and how those young men are, in my opinion, being railroaded right on up the track, down the track, off the track, however you want to say it, that we start really investing in ourselves, in our families. We can tackle issues as a family. Just get some history questions and ask each member of the family, to research and come back with an answer, and then have a family day where we all get together and just talk about what we've learned. I say it often, but all we have is each other, to be honest. We are really integral and honest people. Some of us are not. And we can see that by the way we're living. Nobody can overcome you unless they're let in the door. Think about that. Nobody can overtake you unless they're let in the door. They've got to be given an opportunity. We are a brilliant, resilient people, and we need to remember that. And I wish that you all would use the link that I dropped to make complaints against this prosecutorial team as well as the judge. If it's something you disagree with it, don't just say it in the chat. Go and fill out that complaint form. The link is there. I have many links to many of the people that I like that are on YouTube. I think it's one that I don't see that I put in there that I love, and that's I'm Not a Lawyer But. I think she's the only one that I don't see that I didn't drop. And I need to definitely drop her link in my chat. But check out some of these people. Maybe you like them, maybe you won't. It is your choice. Feel free to send a super chat or a cash app. I receive and accept them all. And please hit the like button. Comment in the comment section. Since you don't want to chat, you can use emojis. I just need YouTube to know, because they only push out videos of people that their chat find interesting. And so for you to spend any time with me, I know you appreciate my work and I appreciate you. But we need to let YouTube know. And on that note, we all know that I believe the children are our future. I'm going to get ready to close out and leave the tiger's den. And I'm going to play my favorite song, The Children Are Our Future. But I also want to play my song, I'm feeling saddened because one of our family friends lost their mom. So I want to play my song that I sing, Mom. It's A Mother's Love by Kim. And y'all know I just love to sing. That's what I do. I can't really sing. I love singing. That's what I do to calm myself when I'm going through my worst times. I just make up songs. And I have a couple that I've sang, or I should say sung, however you want to say it. I've done it. And so I want to share my Mother's Love with you and The Greatest Love. Those are two that I share a lot with the public. I have others. When I was being bullied and I had to fight my way through to come on every week, I would play my other songs that I made up to help me get through. They were just parodies and they were fun and funny. But this is a serious note to me. What's happening to those young men really breaks my heart. And for those that still have their mothers, I know it breaks their heart even harder. Some of those young men have lost their moms. Shannon lost his mother going through this trial. So it's really painful as a mother to see what's going on. But we really can make a difference. I want to thank you for being here. I really do. And so on that note, here we go. In a mother's love, you will find everything. Everything's alright. To a mother's love, you are bound. You can rest on sacred ground. In a mother's love, You are free to dream because she sees what you can be. In a mother's love, you see the sun, enough for two, but you're one. In a mother's love, you can feel something hurts. You can heal. Yes, a mother's love is real. You grow because she knows to let you go. Yeah, mama. Mama, mama, mama. Mother's love. Mother's love. Yeah. All right. A mother's love. And a mother's love never lies. She believes that you can fly with all of her might. A mother's love. Yay, mama. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us who we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I failed, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of takes you to a lonely place. Find yourself in love.